Hello, welcome to March Ahead.
Hi, Miles.
And I'm Bradley. Today we are going to be talking about the roses. A once perfect couple, Theo and Ivy Rose, see their marriage unravel when his career fails and hers soars, turning love into rivalry. Their home becomes the battlefield in a darkly comic war of egos and resentment.
Yeah, so there's one thing before we talk about the rest of the movie. Is that it's actually a remake of a film called War of the Roses that starred, was it Michael Douglas, if I'm correct, and directed by Danny DeVito of all people. I didn't even
Yeah.
know Danny DeVito directed another film apart from Matilda, so that's news to me. Not the musical version, obviously. That was someone else.
Yeah, Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner.
But let's talk about the one we have seen, The Roses. It stars Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch as, well, the main two. And, they're pretty like good actors. I mean, they've both had, or at least Olivia Colman's had an Oscar. I don't know if Benedict Cumberbatch has had that much success in Oscars, but
No,
you know,
I'm
they're
not sure about that.
they're very good actors, and I think they do very well here. I think the dialogue is in certain scenes is done very well. In some, I mean, the dialogue's fine, but in certain scenes it's better than others. I'll say
Yeah,
that much. Uh,
it's also interesting to point out that Olivia Colman, she's a very well obviously regarded actor, but she's also a very good comedic actor as
yeah,
well.
didn't she start off in comedy? Or am
Yeah,
I?
yeah. She was in stuff like the Peep Show, Mitchell and Webb.
Mm, Mitchell Webb,
So
yeah.
yeah, she can do comedy, and I feel like
Mm,
Benedict Cumberbatch, he's more of a serious sort of dramatic actor as opposed to a
yeah,
comedic actor. So it's
yeah. I mean,
interesting to see him in this type of role. I mean, he has
uh,
done comedy
he's
before,
done comedies before. I was gonna
but
say he's done
he's
like,
not, I wouldn't say he's well suited. And I would say that, particularly in this film, I think you can really see sort of the differences because Olivia Colman is very much more of the comedic actor in this.
yeah. Well, I think that, as I said before, that's more or less down to her starting off in comedy. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I know she has done more serious stuff, and I think what's it, the film she got an Oscar for, The Favorite, was a comedy. If I'm correct, I haven't actually seen it, so I might be wrong, but I believe it's a comedy. But I don't know if I'd say Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, he's done a lot more serious roles, but he's also done, like, you remember he voiced the fox or whatever in Penguins of Madagascar. So he's done very weird roles. You could argue Doctor Strange isn't really in his remit either as an actor, but he's done it for at least four films
yeah, yeah.
and probably a fifth. But, I wouldn't say you can tell which one's better than the other because I think, yes, it probably might play to one strength more than the other, but I think they both do a very good job as the Roses,
Yeah, I
you
mean
know.
they do a good job. It's just, in my opinion, Olivia Colman shines out more than
Okay,
Benedict Cumberbatch.
that's a fair, I guess that's a fair opinion to have because I mean, Olivia Colman is a like good actress.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both
So
very good actors to be fair, but
Benedict Cumberbatch plays Theo Rose, who is essentially an architect, and he's sort of he designed buildings, and it sort of starts off. He's in this sort of like restaurant in London. Obviously, I mean they're both sort of they live in London, and then he sort of hates his job kind of thing, because he doesn't agree with a design of the building or something. And then he sort of has to, he sort of breaks away from the group and yeah, he sort of breaks away from the group, ends up in the kitchen, take a breather, and then he sort of meets sort of Olivia's character, Ivy Rose. Well, Ivy, not Rose at this point. Um, and they sort of hit it off, and they sort of agree. Well, yeah, I mean, they sort of move to sort of start over again in California.
I actually don't know why they based it in America. Maybe it was just better visually.
Um,
I don't know if it made that much of a difference if it's still set in London. Maybe that's just me
no,
being dumb, but I just think I don't know where they were in America
it
exactly.
was sort of northern, kind of like northern, yeah, California, North California. Um,
Okay,
maybe that's how the original film is. Sort of they
maybe.
start in London and then they go to, or maybe the other way around, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it worked because they sort of trying to, you sort of get the feeling that they're trying to run away from their old selves and trying to move forward and sort of
Yeah,
become happier in themselves.
yeah.
As
I guess once you say
yeah,
that, I can kind of see that. And I guess story-wise, where they are, what they want to do, yeah, I guess
yeah,
that does make a lot of sense. So maybe I was being stupid. So yeah, they move to the States. They have a family. Everything's going well for them. And then there's a little blunder. We won't say too much about it. And Theo's life suddenly all ruined. While on the opposite, Ivy's gets better, as we've said or as Bradley perfectly said in the synopsis. And it basically goes off from there in terms of the main comedic, well, the dark comedy stuff. And that's done quite well. I, I mean, I can't say I've seen many dark comedies, but it's well portrayed. I think it's well directed. And as we've said before, Olivia Colman's started out in comedy, so her timing's good. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is good as well. It's just really, I think it's well done, to be fair. That's just all I'm going to say.
yeah. I mean, it's a nicely laid out film.
I think the only thing that I'm not too sure about is so the film has these time jumps. So the first one made sense after the beginning where they move and they've skipped 10 years or something. And then near the end of the film, it skips 3 years and their kids are going off to some scholarships thing. And I don't know if the last one was necessarily needed. They're not like a big deal, but I just felt they included them a little bit not really needed. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, no, I mean, I think it worked because obviously it shows that sort of this relationship has sort of crumbled over time. Because obviously, and I think it as well, it goes along with the narrative of sort of Thea had this sort of continued to have this great career when they moved to the States. Ivy didn't necessarily have one until a bit later on.
Mm.
Because she was sort of looking after the kids, and then you sort of see that switch at the point in the film where things go wrong for Thea, and then Ivy sort of manages to sort of drum up some sort of career for herself. And I think it sort of, I think it does work to have that sort of expedition. I don't think, I mean, again, I mean, I think it worked. I just don't. I think it's one of these films that has a lot of side characters and they don't really they're sort of pushed off to the side and sort of they become sort of Theo's sort of project in to sort of put it in speaking and he sort of turns them sort of from sort of normal kids really when Ivy was looking after them to sort of like these athletes.
Yeah. And I think to just go a bit more into that, as you said, like beginning, they're just like normal kids who love the ice cream being given. I think
Yeah,
there's a
they're, they're,
scene
they're
where So
They were
Olivia
making
Colman comes.
cakes. I mean, the whole thing sort of is one big silly argument, I would say. It's just, yeah,
Yeah, it's a collection of arguments that go quite extreme. That's what I'll
yeah,
say. Is like, it's a very. I guess to talk a bit about it, it goes very. So it goes small like that, and then it goes very extreme. Like, I believe near the ends is like, what's it? I mean, you see the scenes shown in the trailers. Benedict Cumberbatch breaks his dried toes onto a lasagna or whatever. If you remember that scene,
yeah.
it goes very like
It
goes to
starts
very
off,
extreme lengths.
it starts off very sort of a traditional sort of parent argument
Yeah,
about
very
sort of towards the
relatable.
kid, and then sort of later down in the film where they sort of both have sort of these big Ivy and Theo have these big sort of egos and their careers are sort of going sort of equally as well. Um,
Mm.
that's sort of when it's sort of the tension starts sort of building and building. Um, and yeah, they sort of yeah. I won't really talk about the ending, but they sort of it's it sort of fizzles out. That's what I'll say
Yeah,
by the end.
yeah. It just again, as you said about the side characters, I think there's one prevalent one. Their friend or Theo's friend in particular, I think Barry, played by Andy Sandberg, who many people probably remember as Jake Peralta in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So
Yeah,
yeah, he's sort of the main, I guess, side character, supporting actor, whatever you want to call it.
yeah. I mean,
And
yeah.
yeah, I think he's probably the one that's out of all the side characters not pushed to the side, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, he's very much sort of in the mix of it, especially when they're uh, going through some sort of rough patch and
Mm,
they're sort of arguing about sort of who gets what and
yeah.
stuff like that. Then you got sort of his wife, Barry's wife, Amy, played by
Yes, Kate
Kate
McKinnon,
McKinn,
a
from
SNL
Barbie,
comedian,
from
I believe.
SNL.
Yes,
Um,
the weird Barbie from the
yeah.
Barbie movie. I forgot that.
She is also I think she's also one of these characters that is not pushed to the side.
Mm,
I mean she's not in it much, but I think that's sort of the purpose of her character because
yeah.
I mean she sort of carries on the sort of the trait that you see her play in her Barbie. It's sort of
Yeah,
she's
she's one of
very weird,
those
very
weird
erratic.
characters, yeah. Which I
Um,
think is just how her kind of character, because I think even in some of the skits in SNL, she's kind of like that as well.
yeah, and
So,
I think the fact that she's not in it much, it's kind of it's necessary that she's and it works. I don't think she's pushed to the side necessarily. Um, but yeah, I mean you do have um the two people that Ivy work with in the restaurant, Jane and Jeffrey, played by Sunita Mani and Shooty Gatwa.
yes, Shooty Gatwa.
They are very much pushed to the side. They're not in it at all.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if they're pushed to the side necessarily,
In
but I get what you're
that
saying. They don't really
that
have much to do in the plot
that
apart
that
from be
they're
possible
important in
comedy
the scenes
reliefs.
that they're in,
Yeah,
and they
but
have their purpose. But I think outside of that, there's not much. There's already, I think, too much characters going on
yeah, there might be too many side characters.
because
I think
you
I'd
have
agree with
another
that.
couple that
Because
we
there's
have
another
yet to talk
couple as
about.
well, and they're very much pushed to the side.
Yeah, to the
Like
point
they're
which,
like in at least two scenes.
yeah, I mean, you don't see them at all.
Yeah, I mean they do pop up as like a movie's at least halfway through,
Yeah,
and you forgot about them. So yeah, I definitely agree that there might be too many side characters, or they could have got rid of a couple. Because I mean, look, these are small things. They don't really affect the movie that much, but
Yeah, I mean,
they're not necessarily needed.
it's not affecting the story. The story still it's very much focused on the roses, obviously,
Mm.
um, and it's very much the focus is on Ivy and Theo, and the other characters. Some of them are sort of just there. Some of them are a bit more integral to the plot. Um, but yeah, I think the main push sort of brush characters are the kids because they sort of halfway-ish through the film they sort of yeah, I mean as you said they sort of they go off to college and they're only 13 or something like that
Yeah, I don't know if it
through
was
some
college. It was a
scholarship.
scholarship thing. I don't really know much about it. But I get what you're saying. They weren't. They could have been a bit bigger than they were, but
Yeah,
I think for what
they they could
they
have been
needed to
utilized
do,
more.
they were fine.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think I don't think the story would rush necessarily.
No.
I just think that they could have shown more maybe or could have sort of shown certain bits more than other bits. I mean, I think the time jumps, I think makes it feel rush.
Yeah.
It's
I think the
not, but it
first
just makes
time
it
jump
feels
made
like it is.
sense. Just the second one, I'm not sure. It's like I know this is a very different movie, but the 2015 Fantastic Four. You know,
Hmm.
it has like one great story until they get their powers, and then it's like 5 years later for no reason.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
kind of like that sort of situation. I don't think they necessarily need the last one.
I get it, and I think it does continue the sort of the film on. But yeah, I agree. I
But overall, it's a good movie. I think you have a nice laugh. Like, little back and forths are done very well. Yeah, it's not like the typical film I'd like to see, but I had a good time with it.
it's very satire and very sort of
I don't know
it
if it's
has its
satire.
moments. It has its moments of being funny. Then obviously
Yeah,
it has its moments of being quite dark and very
well, that's
sort
a
of
dark comedy
satire.
for you.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how they were all sort of at the start, Theo and Ivy were very sort of happy
Mm.
in their relationship and it was all sort of happy and jolly and then Theo he sort of can't handle not being sort of successful and having this good job
Mm.
and the fact that his wife has that, and then he gets the opportunity to sort of redeem himself, and then that sort of becomes a central part of the plot.
I think there's also something I want to. This is a very small thing as well, but I definitely felt there was a couple bits that were quite preachy. There's that
In, in what
AI
way?
bit. So there's that scene near the end where it's like Ivy makes a deep fake of Theo, and then she's
Yeah,
talking about she's an AI, and it's like the downfall of Western civilization. And I think there's another scene that's of that kind of ilk. And I mean, it's a very small scene, but I felt it was kind of, why did you add that? Very sort of preachy. Maybe I'm
yeah,
going
yeah. I
too far
mean,
with it.
yeah. I get what you mean. It's not. It's one of these things that isn't necessarily but necessary because yeah, it sort of explains it too much. Yeah.
You've been listening to Miles Ahead. Catch you next time.